The only thing worse than sitting in traffic is all of the wear and tear your engine experiences from the constant stop and go. So do your engine a favor. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics, made from natural gas and designed for complete protection. Pennzoil Synthetics are pure performance.
NBA Saturday primetime. The Spurs bring the NBA's best defense into Cleveland to face the new up-tempo offense of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Coverage begins Saturday at 7:30 Eastern on ABC and on ESPN Radio. This morning on Mike and Mike.
Finds it open. Klay Thompson. It's a three, and it's money in the bag.
4-on-1 for the Cavs. Goes to Smith. Alley-oop to LeBron, and LeBron hammers it home with authority.
I've never, in my time since I've picked up basketball, ever undermined a coach, ever disrespected a coach.
Mike and Mike.
I've said it since day one. You know, I'm an African-American quarterback that may scare a lot of people because they haven't seen nothing that they can compare me to.
What kind of guy is Dennis Weidman? You know, what's Dennis Weidman's reputation?
Certainly isn't known to be a dirty player. And we all know that officials in any sport are completely off limits.
It's time for Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Welcome to my house, baby, take control.
Golic Jr. on me and Fitzsimmons here on Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and the ESPN app in for Senior and Greeny. Thanks for spending part of your morning with us. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. We have a ton to get into and a loaded guest list today, including the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and that will be Ron Rivera, will join us right here at 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific, and I'm sure we'll be getting into a ton about his quarterback and some of his comments, and Charles Barkley's comments about Cam Newton and why he is so, I don't want, for lack of a better term, I don't want to say hated, but or despised, but there is a feel outside of Carolina fans and that team that Cam Newton just isn't liked.
He's one of the most polarizing athletes in sports right now, and I think disliked, yes. I just think it's one of those, there's no gray area with Cam Newton. You were either all in on, Cam and all the fun that they're having in Carolina, or you're completely in the opposite direction and you're disgusted by everything that's going on. There doesn't seem to be any room for a middle ground in this guy.
We'll also get into a professional athlete knocking the snot out of an official. Some are saying he was woozy. You watch the video. If you haven't seen it, go Google Dennis Weidman, Don Henderson, defenseman for the Calgary Flames. We'll touch on that coming up in about 10 minutes because, woozy or not, that was a vicious hit on an official. We'll get into that coming up in a moment. But let's begin the show with that Cam topic. And look, I had the Carolina Panthers late in the year when they absolutely chicken kicked the Atlanta Falcons 38-0. And watching Cam Newton interacting with his teammates as the field analyst for ESPN Radio, with Bill Polian and Mark Kestisher on the call also, his teammates love him. They follow him. He is a leader. The fans just eat up and absorb every single bit of everything he does, all the showboating, all the shenanigans, whatever you want to call it. Outside of that Carolina fan base and that locker room, people view it as, look, he's drawing attention to himself. And there may be there is a degree of that. But the fans eat it up. When there's about 2 minutes to go in the game, and he's going from one end zone to the other, pointing to the crowd. And there's a wave that happens when he sprints from one end zone to the other. And the fans are going absolutely ballistic. And his teammates are also enjoying every bit of it. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what you think, what I think, what a Chiefs fan thinks, what a Saints fan thinks. All that matters is what those fans, how they view him, do they embrace it, and more importantly, do his teammates embrace it? And the answer to those two questions is absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the important part here, too, is just what Cam said in that quote is that I've been the same guy since I came in here. The only difference is now is everyone has to take notice because, like you said, they're out here chicken kicking everyone down the block as it comes through this schedule. So now everyone on a national stage has to deal with everything that they're doing there. And you're absolutely right. They're having a great time. I mean, we've talked at length about them giving the kids the footballs after the touchdowns, which I said the last game. I don't know if that'll ever get old for me because every time you see these kids' faces light up and they're just loving it. They're loving every bit of it. It's such harmless fun. Now, if you're a guy on another team, I can certainly understand it getting old because you don't like to, get your butt kicked and have someone rub your nose in it at the same time. But again, that's on you to stop them. That's not on them to stop having fun. And the buy-in is from the top down there. You're right. It's the fans, it's the community, but like you said, it's most importantly the guys on this team. They're all in on it. You see them taking the group pictures after games.
During games.
During
that Falcons game, they're taking a group. I'm standing right there. They're taking a group photo with about 3 minutes to go in the game. Plenty of time left on that clock, and there's the group shot right then.
And that's what happens when you're winning by the margins that they're winning. You can get away with doing things like that. And, kudos to Ron Rivera, the job he's done there, because it's easy in that situation for it to seem like, maybe the locker room could be out of control with guys having that much fun and being that relaxed. But it's a very dialed-in group, and that always starts from the top down.
If you happen to miss the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers and the guy that we believe is going to be the NFL's MVP, talking about his perception, here is his comments in full, unedited, about Cam being Cam, from Cam.
I don't think people have seen, what I am or what I'm trying to do. And I said that prior to me being in this situation. But when I said it then, oh, he's immature, oh, he's young, he's this, that, and the third. It's like I felt a certain type of way then. I feel the same type of way now. Nothing's pretty much changed. They talk about maturity with me. They talk about skill set with this team. Nobody has changed. It's been the same Ted Ginn that was drafted, by the Miami Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? The same Jericho Cotchery, the same Philly Brown, the same Cam Newton. Nothing's changed. But the only thing that's changed is that we're winning. And I've said it since day one. I'm an African-American quarterback that may scare a lot of people because they haven't seen nothing that they can compare me to. Oftentimes, and it's funny, I get inspired, make me go out there and practice even harder, because I remember when I was, working out for the draft, and I would see the Senior Bowl playing, and I see these guys out there busting their tails trying to get drafted, try to have a job to provide for their family or themselves. And it's like, here I am. I'm doing exactly what I want to do, how I want to do it. And when I look in the mirror, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody changed me. Nobody, made me act this certain type of way. And I'm true to my roots. And it feels great. But yet, people are going to say whatever they want to say. And if I'm in this world living for that person, oh, this person going to say this person going to say that, then I can't look at myself and say I'm Cam Newton or I'm Cameron Newton to most people, because I'm not, because I'm living for you.
And he's living for his teammates. He's living for his fans. And he's been, Golic, the same type of player going back to Blinn Junior College, to his days as the quarterback at Auburn, to the way he is now. Now, his rookie year, yeah, you would see him on the end of the bench pouting after a loss, during a loss, and they're just getting their brains beaten in. But now, he is, look, a guy doesn't like to lose. He doesn't like to lose a coin toss. But now that they are winning, and winning with its style and flair and in a dominant fashion, now you have so many people across the country going, he's all about him. Well, once again, you can think that all you want, but the bottom line is, do his teammates embrace it and follow him? Check. Yes. Do the fans enjoy it and love him? Check. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and listen, none of us know Cam Newton personally. We can't speak to his personal character, but we can go off what we see. And like you said, the proof is in the pudding with this. Everyone there is bought in. His fingerprints are all over this team. This is a group and an entire team, and really now a city that's adopted Cam Newton's personality, his boisterous personality. He's loud, he's in your face, and it's fun. It's so much fun for people. I think so much we get caught up in the, everyone wanting, hand the ball to the ref and play the game, with this, that, and the other. It's still a game. And to see a guy really embody that and have as much fun as he's having with it, it's going to ignite this criticism. The only thing I found interesting in that comment was him saying, this is the same, Ted Ginn, this is the same Cam. I don't necessarily think it's wrong to admit that guys grow and get better, because like you said, we saw Cam early on in his career sitting on the bench by himself, and while certainly they hadn't had to deal with many of those losses this year, it's okay to say, you know what, I was a kid that came in, and now I've learned.
I've matured.
I've matured. There's nothing wrong with that. With a Ted Ginn Jr., there's nothing wrong with saying that a guy has improved since he's been in the league. That's what you look for, is guys to improve and get better, whether that's on the field or off the field. And so, to say those things, I understand his point certainly was that, he hasn't changed his mindset, which is absolutely right. But those other things, it's fine to say, you know what, I've grown up a little bit. We all do it.
Let me ask you this, and get this image in your head. Remember Tom Brady, divisional round, Kansas City Chiefs, and he's sprinting down the field as he does in his warm-up every single game. And he gets to about the 2-yard line on the Chiefs side. Travis Kelce, tight end for the Chiefs. They're all over there warming up. And Brady all of a sudden does a hop, a skip, a jump, and gives this fiery fist pump to the crowd. Remember Kelce going off?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of screaming back at him? Well, imagine if that were Cam Newton. What would people be saying? And imagine this also. Tom Brady, I think it was around the second quarter, where the New England starting to impose their will on the Chiefs. And the camera catches Tom Brady talking to an assistant coach. I can't remember which one it was. And he's screaming and he's yelling and he's all fired up and he's going nuts. Well, he's fiery. He's passionate, right? But if that's Cam Newton, what are people saying?
Yeah, it's always interesting the euphemisms that get tossed around in situations like that when the narrative's a little different. Because you're right, if that's Cam Newton, imagine the letters to the Charlotte Observer we're getting then. You know, imagine the letters to the editor that are pouring in now, the example.
It's a national story.
Yeah, the example that Cam is setting for you. How am I supposed to explain this to my children the way he's acting? No, it's ridiculous. I don't think there's anything Cam Newton said that I disagree with. I mean, people aren't used to seeing what they're seeing out of a guy in his position, out of a black quarterback in his position, because they're all the talk about, you know, the comparison between him and Russell Wilson. But Russ is not as in-your-face a guy as Cam Newton. You know, he's very buttoned up.
He's not sprinting sideline to sideline and taking pictures during the game.
That's his style. That's fine. But I'm saying what Cam's giving you is different in that regard. And I think that's what people have the biggest time, you know, getting around as fans and people consuming this.
Here's PTI's Michael Wilbon on Cam Newton.
So everybody is critical of him because he's different. That difference starts still with being black in a league where white quarterbacks and coaches are still the most prominent people in the league. It ain't the NBA, folks. So yeah, he completely gets it in terms of people reacting to him. The word scared, it doesn't mean frightened, Lindsay. It means they're jolted into looking at him because he's different, like Tiger Woods in golf, like Larry Bird in the 1980s in the NBA.
That's Michael Wilbon from PTI with Lindsay Zarniak on SportsCenter, and everything he said is 100% correct. But we haven't seen anything like Cam Newton before. He's 6'6". He's 260 pounds as a quarterback. He's one of the best power runners in the National Football League. And it's just and one aspect of it, let me ask you this. As a guy who's played the game at a very high level at Notre Dame and played for a national championship and spent some time in the NFL, how much of this also goes back to his image going back to college, the laptop at Florida, the $180,000 that his dad was trying to get from Mississippi State, allegedly, and those type of things that followed him into Auburn. Remember, he had the 1-day suspension at Auburn. All of that was there leading into the draft. How much of that plays into what we're talking about right now?
There are always going to be people that are going to hold on to that and never let Cam forget it because, again, no one else has ever made a mistake when they were an 18 or a 19-year-old kid. And, you know, he admits that what he did was wrong and everything like that, but at some point you have to realize, again, people make mistakes and then they grow up and they change. So there'll always be that select group in my eyes that, yes, will be, you know, hold on to that and use that as something to continue to undermine Cam's success and everything that he's doing now. But at the end of the day, it was a mistake made by a young kid who has now learned from that, obviously grown. And listen, in addition to, you know, being a great player on the field, is now doing a lot of great things for the community around that team as well. So I think, again, the proof is in the pudding here with the way we've seen Cam progress, not only as a player, but as a person.
Well, we'll get his head coach's thoughts on this when Ron Rivera joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line coming up at 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific. With Golic Jr., I'm Ian Fitzsimmons, in for Senior and Greeny here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and the ESPN app, presented by Progressive Insurance. Last year, over 3 million drivers switched to Progressive. Click or call today and find out if you could save. Now, another big story, and it is a big story. Yes, it's hockey. But this is a professional athlete and Calgary Flames defenseman, Dennis Weidman, knocking the snot out of linesman Don Henderson during a game. Now, here's the situation. You have Weidman got crushed in the boards just moments before what we're describing to you. And he's coming over to the bench. And that is when linesman Don Henderson is kind of in his way. And then Weidman sees him and then just unloads. And people are saying he was woozy and maybe concussed, or whatever. But, man, when you watch this and you see him, and just go Google it if you haven't seen it, if you're listening on ESPN radio, or watching it right now on ESPN2. Man, he's skating into him. There was no penalty called, by the way, when Weidman got hit. No. Then he's skating immediately after that toward the bench and then sees the linesman Don Henderson and just unloads. And once he sees him, he doesn't go, oh, wait a minute, that's a ref, and pull up. He extends his arms with the stick and finishes that hit. To me, that was 100% deliberate. What do you think?
I don't even know how you could argue the other side of this. And I saw the statement he said after the game saying I was woozy, I was bent over, I didn't see him.
Hold on. We have Weidman in his own words. Here's Dennis Weidman talking about that cross-check on linesman Don Henderson.
Obviously, I took a pretty hard hit and down in the corner and had some pretty good pain in my shoulder and my neck, and I was just trying to get off the ice, and I was kind of keeled over, and at the last second I looked up and I saw him, and I couldn't avoid it. I would never intentionally try to hit a linesman or a ref or anything like that, and it was completely unintentional, and I already apologized to him. So
unintentional? In what world, again, and if you're not watching on ESPN2, go take some time today and go and pull up this video. He's bent over after the hit for all of 3 or 4 seconds. He's clearly upright and looking towards the bench as he's going back. And as you said, he cocks his hands up and fully extends on the hit. There was nothing unintentional about this. This was as deliberate can be, and you see the whole bench of the opposing team reacting to just how completely absurd this entire situation was. He actively went after this referee, and I'm sure the league's going to look into it. I think the penalty for something like this is a 20-game suspension.
I have no problem with 20 games. Now, once again, if you're watching on ESPN2, you can see he's kind of woozy after he gets rocked in the boards. No penalties called. But by the time he gets over near his bench, he sees Henderson and unloads. I mean, he actually picks up speed going into him and just unloads on him.
Well, and you think if this was truly unintentional, there'd be some sort of pullback, some sort of visible sign of remorse, and there was nothing. He kept right on going and went and sat down on the bench. There was nothing.
I have no problem with a 20-game suspension if that's what they do. Some people across the country are reacting to this as if it's assault because, it's in the back, it's an official.
Well, and we just had the situation with the high school players this fall. Down in San Antonio, doing essentially the same thing to a referee there.
When the two safeties came in and speared the official.
They came in from behind, speared the official, and took him out from the back. And in this situation, you have a grown man doing this.
Look, man, it's nasty. It's bad. It's really bad. If you even try to, I understand he's got to try and defend it, and he is woozy after he got hit. Yes. But by the time he gets to his bench, and you see this, he actually sees Henderson and kind of changes direction a little bit. It speeds up and then drops the forearms and extends his arms into him. That's just chicken, what as it gets.
It is, and it's as blatantly obvious as it gets. And like you said, he's going to die with a lie on this situation. There's no way he's going to admit to actively going after the ref in this situation. But for anyone to believe that lie at this point is unbelievably ridiculous.
And the sad thing is, I'm a hockey fan. I'm based in Dallas, Texas. The Stars are having a good year. I was raised on the Blue Jackets. Kevin Dineen, that was my first hockey team in Columbus, Ohio, when I was doing a show with Kirk Herbstreit there on the Buckeyes flagship. So the Blue Jackets were my first squad. I enjoy going to the barn and watching hockey.
Absolutely.
But it is sad when this kind of a story takes the headlines away from the game. And rightly so in this instance. It's nasty. It's disgusting. It was awful. It was cowardly. And to try and defend it, good luck to you, man. And here's the official rule. Rule 40.2, I love the points and stuff, not 40.1, but Rule 40.2 in the old NHL rule book, which deals with abuse of officials. Quote, any player who deliberately strikes an official and causes injury or who deliberately applies physical force in any manner against an official with intent to injure or in any manner attempts to injure an official shall be automatically suspended for not less than 20 games. For the purpose of the rule, intent to injure shall mean any physical force which a player knew or should have known could reasonably be expected to cause injury. Is that not what we were just discussing?
I think that fits the bill. I think this definitely fits the bill. And again, I mean, there was absolute intent. I don't know how. Again, it's always hard to judge intent, but it certainly looked like he deliberately, went through with this action, and it doesn't seem to be any way to argue it otherwise.
He's Mike Golic Jr. I'm Ian Fitzsimmons, in for Senior and Greeny here on ESPN Radio. Coming up next, we go to the other side of the world. Top-seeded Mr. Djokovic just beat Roger Federer. We'll go live to Australia where Patrick McEnroe is standing by next. But first, a word from Burger King.
You ever see posts on social media like, hey, Burger King, you got that flame griller and you got burgers and you have chicken, right? Well, Burger King took an unclear idea such as this and turned it into something great. Burger King is introducing the new Flame Grilled Chicken Burger. Yes, you heard it right. The new Flame Grilled Chicken Burger from Burger King. A savory flame grilled chicken patty topped with veggies served on a toasted bun. And right now, they're just 2 for $5. Plus, you can mix and match another delicious Burger King sandwich like the extra long cheeseburger. All part of Burger King's 2 for $5 deal. Burger King's always coming up with new ideas, and just like that, they decided to flame grill their chicken, and look what happened. They made a delicious new flame grilled chicken burger. Burger King loves creating, and their fans love eating, so check out their latest creation, the new flame grilled chicken burger, only at Burger King. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary.
Patrick McEnroe next, right here on Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio, ESPN 2.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
With Mike Golic Jr., I'm Ian Fitzsimmons, in for Senior and Greeny. Warriors win again this time over the Mavericks, 127-107. It's their 40th straight home win, tied for the second longest streak in NBA history. They've also led for 232 of its last 240 minutes of NBA action. That is ridiculous. Spurs beat the Rockets 130-99. Serena Williams defeats Radwanska in straight sets, advances to the Australian Open final against Kerber. SportsCenter is brought to you by 1-800-Flowers.com. Wow her with 1-800-Flowers, your rose authority for birthdays, anniversaries, and Valentines.
Our listeners can get great deals on roses she'll love starting at just $29.99. Order today or lock in early for Valentine's. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the microphone, and enter Mike.
Joining us right now, let's go across the world, Golic, and we're joined by Patrick McEnroe, who was just on the call of the Australian Open with Chris Fowler, and the Joker wins again. And Patrick, thank you so much for your time, as always. That first set, Federer looked almost jittery for a man who is widely regarded as one of the greatest to ever play this game, as Djokovic jumped out to a 6-1 lead, and the rest was history. You're there, you watched it, you called it. What did you make of that first set?
Well, there's no doubt. First of all, there's no doubt, guys, that Roger Federer is one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. But he is 34 years of age, and he's now going up against a guy, Novak Djokovic, who's playing at the peak of his powers and seemingly getting better. But you're right, he was jittery because Djokovic was absolutely on fire in the opening set. Federer was shell-shocked, to be honest. He'd never been beaten this badly in the first two sets of a major since the French Open, which, of course, was Rafael Nadal dominated for many years. So on this kind of court, in this kind of match, we've never seen something like this happen. Not only the first set, but the second set as well. Federer was able to finally get himself into it early in that third set and make a bit of a match of it. But Djokovic, well, he's about as dominant right now in the men's game as Serena is in the women's game.
For Federer, you did say one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, and certainly no one would dispute you on that. But after this match today, now has a losing record between really his two prime rivals in Rafael Nadal and Djokovic. What does that do to his legacy all time, if anything?
Well, I don't think it really hurts him, to be honest. I mean, it's a little bit like, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I mean, the fact that they keep putting themselves in positions to get to the Super Bowl for both of them. I mean, Roger Federer, I don't think should be penalized for the fact that at 34, he continues to play at a very high level. Now he's going up against two all-time greats. Nadal, when he was dominating in his prime, and Djokovic is now right in the middle of his prime. So I think overall it doesn't hurt his legacy. It does is a testament to his staying power that he's still able to be number 3 in the world, which he is now. But Djokovic certainly has the opportunity, I think, over the next couple of years to start to make a move where we could start to talk about him. He started to do that with Nadal when he got to 14 majors. Remember, Roger Federer has 17. Djokovic now in double digits himself, and who knows, the way he's playing this year, he might close in on Nadal by the end of the year and end up with 13, maybe 14.
Patrick, and I'm a sap when it comes to stories like this. I wanted to see Peyton Manning try and ride off into the sunset and win another Super Bowl. Roger Federer is one of those guys also. He's 34. He's been so remarkable for the game. Do you believe that he has another major in him?
Well, when I look at the way he's played over the last 12 to 18 months, I would say yes. I mean, he's the only reason what I would say he can't do it is because of this guy that beat him again tonight in Novak Djokovic. So he's putting himself in positions, guys. He's in the semis here. He's in the finals of the U.S. Open last year. He's in the finals of Wimbledon last year. He beats Andy Murray. He beats Stan Wawrinka. These are guys that have been winning majors as well. So he's clearly at the level where he's right there, but something has to happen. Something has to give for him to figure out a way to solve this Djokovic riddle, this puzzle of this guy in front of him who is just playing the game at such a high level right now. Not only his tennis skill, his athleticism, his movement around the court is amazing. All that being said, I would still say that Roger Federer's best chance to win one more major would be on the grass at Wimbledon.
And for Djokovic, he's only lost once in his career when he's taken a 2-0 set lead. What is it about him that makes it that hard to come back when you're down in that 2-0 hole?
Well, like any great player, when he gets up a couple of sets, it frees him up. It allows him to sort of take more chances, to take more risks. But I think the biggest reason for Novak Djokovic is his physical fitness, his movement around the court. He breaks guys down, and he breaks your will down because not only is he just a great pure tennis player, but he runs you side to side. The reason he's been able to dominate Federer in best-of-5 set matches over the last couple of years is because he breaks him down physically. He starts to wear him down. That wasn't the case tonight because his tennis was at such a high level. So you're down 2 sets against Djokovic. You know you're going to have to not only play remarkable tennis just to get back into it, but physically you're going to have to withstand a lot of suffering with your legs and with your heart rate to be able to stay in that type of match. So that's really the biggest reason why once he gets that kind of lead, almost impossible for him to become back against.
Patrick McEnroe was on the call at the Australian Open here with us on ESPN Radio, ESPN2 here on Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. He's on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Does anything, Patrick, that Djokovic does now surprise you?
Not really. I mean, I was surprised tonight at how well he came out of the blocks, and his focus was unbelievable. I think that was partly because of his respect for Roger Federer and, of course, the semifinal at a major. But what he's improved on in the last couple of years are a couple things. His second serve has gotten a lot better. I credit Boris Becker a little bit, his coach for the last couple of years, for adding that wrinkle to his game. And he's also become very comfortable around the net. He didn't need to do much of that tonight. We've always known about his defense. We've always known about his relentless ability on the baseline to take the ball early, to move his opponents around. But he continues to add little wrinkles to his game to keep improving. That's why it's so scary right now for the rest of the field in men's tennis.
Looking forward towards the final now, who do you have with the better chance of being able to pull off the upset and beat Djokovic?
Well, I would say Murray has the better chance. Andy Murray will take on the big Canadian Milos Raonic, and Raonic has had a great tournament to get to just his second career major semifinal, his first down here in Australia. Andy Murray, over the years here, has played very well. He's been in 4 finals, but he's lost once to Federer and 3 times to Novak Djokovic. That being said, Murray's been able to beat Djokovic in some big matches before. He certainly is capable of doing. He has the physical skills and the defensive skills to hang with Djokovic in a very tough, grinding type of match. He plays a similar style. I would give him a better chance. Raonic has a much different kind of game with the big serve. He's more explosive. He'll take more chances. But if he somehow upsets Andy Murray, it would be him playing in his first major final. That would be a very tough ask for him to upset Novak Djokovic. So I think Murray's got the better chance. All that being said, it's hard to think that Novak Djokovic won't win his 6th, that's right, 6th Australian Open title here in Melbourne.
That's just ridiculous. Patrick, we appreciate your time. We know it's a long day, as you were on the call today with the Australian Open with Chris Fowler. And speaking of Fowler, by the way, does he ever hand over the wine list when you're ordering a dinner? Does he give that up?
Well, I think the reason it's me here is because he's already on his way there right now because it's nighttime here. So we're going to get out of here. Have a good night. You guys have a great morning, and we're happy to be on with you, and we'll look forward to the next couple of days here from Down Under.
Patrick, great stuff, man. Thanks for your time on a long day.
You got it. Thanks.
All right, Patrick McEnroe live from across the world in Australia where Djokovic does what he does, and that is continue to win. And that first set, I was shocked watching it. You know, we're here at pre-show meeting, and I'm going, who is this guy that looks like Roger Federer that looks jittery and nervous? And I know he got 1 set back, but the Joker goes on to win in 4. He survives in advance. And I am a sap, Golic. When it comes to that storybook ending, I at least want I want to see it. I want to see Federer win another one. And McEnroe's right. It's almost as if we're saying he's done and Father Time has caught him. And look, Father Time, as Charles Barkley has said time and time again, is undefeated. There's only a few that have fought back really well. Gordie Howe, Nolan Ryan, they've given Father Time a kick every now and then. But, man, for the most part, that dude doesn't lose.
Undefeated and untied.
No doubt, man. But he's 34. He is here in the semifinal. He was in, major finals. But it's almost like somebody's got to help him and beat Djokovic in order for him to get that next major.
Yeah, normally you'd say with a guy like that being ranked 3 in the world, you're really giving Father Time a great run for his money at that point. But when that guy is ahead of you, another guy who's getting into that class of, all-time greats in the game the way Djokovic is right now, it makes it that much more difficult to get over the hump. I'm with you, though. When you have a great champion like this in a sport, you want to see
Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl right now.
Exactly. It's the perfect parallel right now in that other sport. He's a guy that's been such a you always hate to say the cliche, but really been a class act in the league in the time he's been here. And same with Federer in tennis. He's been that sort of class champion for the sport, and you'd like to see him get rewarded with another championship or with another championship title, I should say. And like you said, get to ride off into the sunset.
But when it comes to Manning in Carolina, look, there's great stories both ways with that.
Oh, no doubt.
15-1 versus can Manning turn back the clock one more time and give Father Time an uppercut, and then decide what he wants to do, whether was it right off into the sunset or continue to play. So give me a great game in that Super Bowl. But I love the fact that we have the opportunity just to talk about that storybook ending. With Federer, you still have it in multiple majors.
Yes.
I mean, he's still playing at that level. But there is that question, man. Will he win just one more, even to add on to his legacy? I'm with Patrick McEnroe. I think he's got a great shot, but it's going to be hard because that dude that just beat him today is playing at a sick level. It's Mike and Mike with Golic Jr. I'm Ian Fitzsimmons in for Greeny, reminding you now you can listen to Mike and Mike live and on demand in the ESPN app. Choose from any of the 4 hours of this show, including our conversations coming up with Ron Rivera in hour number 3, or the Best Of podcast. It's all available as a featured podcast in the Listen tab of the ESPN app. Coming up next, if a player only played in 3 games, would you care if he was named an all-star? Well, what about a coach? You won't believe who's coaching in the East in the NBA All-Star game. We'll tell you next. But first, a word from Ultimate Software.
On the field or at the office, it's your talents that lead you to success. Ultimate Software helps you better manage and develop your employees with its full suite of cloud-based HR, payroll, and talent management solutions. Ultimate believes software should work for people, not the other way around, because your people are your business. Take care of them so they can take care of everything else. Visit ultimatesoftware.com/HR to learn more. Ultimate Software, people first.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
ESPN Radio counts down to football's golden game. Hall of Fame defensive end Charles Haley watched his idol instead of his coach at halftime at Super Bowl 27.
When Michael Jackson was up, Michael Jackson's always been my hero. I wore one glove when I played because of that. And I got, at halftime, stay out and watch Thriller, you know what I'm saying? Hey, he was an entertainer. He was an ultimate entertainer. And I always wanted to get to that level where he was.
Brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
Oh, Golic Jr. I'm Ian Fitzsimmons. You're on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and the ESPN app. And that story, Charles Haley, but just tuning in, was talking about, and that golden moment, man, is priceless. I had no idea.
Oh my God, how cool is that? I wore one glove when I was playing because I wanted to be like Michael Jackson. That's one of the funniest, coolest things I've ever heard.
I'm forgetting to listen to my coaches for 12 minutes or 15 minutes, because it's extended in the Super Bowl at halftime, with adjustments or everything else. No. I'm good, Coach. I'm good here. I got my assignments. I'm gonna go watch Michael.
Yeah, defense all up. No thanks. You see who's out at this halftime show right now? You heard of this guy?
That is absolutely fantastic, man. Sports is brought to you by Tommy John. Innovation never takes a day off at Tommy John. Case in point, Tommy John Air, weighing just 2 ounces. They're the lightest men's underwear and undershirts ever created. Get yours now at TommyJohn.com and use code Mike to save 20% on your first order. TommyJohn.com. Let's get to the next question with our man Dan Stanzik.
What's up, guys?
How are you, man? Good morning.
I'm good. First and foremost here, true or false, the biggest...
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. True or false, the biggest reason Cam Newton is disliked is because he's black?
I would say true, and I'd also say because he's great.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely at the core of it. I'll go true there as well. All the other reasons stem from that one area.
And it stinks. It's ridiculous. It's medieval. But Charles Barkley talked about it yesterday. In case you're just tuning in, Cam Newton was asked about it, and he talked about it at length yesterday. But if he stinks, if he's not dressing, if he's inactive,
yes,
it's
none of this is an issue. But to deny it, and to look like we said at the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers, the guys that are also very in your face, will get out there and celebrate the discount double check and all that stuff that we love. Not so much here.
Next question.
Tyronn Lue coaching the East in the All-Star game is blank.
Did you see how he found out about this?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Here's LeBron James.
Sad. We'll be coaching the All-Star game in 2016 Toronto All-Star game. It's all good. Y'all take care of y'all. Automatic on 3, work on 6. 1, 2, 3. Automatic. 4, 5, 6.
Hold on a minute.
Well,
the commissioner didn't tell you. The league didn't tell you. Your general manager, your owner didn't tell you. LeBron James, one of your players, tells you, hey, I know you've only coached 3 games, but you're going to be coaching in the All-Star game.
And people think there's really any sort of misconception about who runs the show there. That's all you need to know right there. And the fact that he's coaching in the All-Star game after his 3rd game, that's special is what that is.
Now,
look, and that's nothing against him at all.
Personally, guys, I don't care. I don't. Stanzik, I see you over there. You're rolling your eyes. You're going, are you serious, Smalls? I don't. Look, it doesn't bother me. Meaning, I really don't care who's coaching whom in the All-Star game. Now, if I'm Rick Carlisle or I'm another coach in the NBA, I'm going, wait a minute. This dude's coached 3 games, and he's coaching in the All-Star game? Hold on a minute. Let's take a step back here, Coach. But just in my focus group of 1, I really don't care.
I just like to see the camera cut to David Blatt right now and see where he is in a dark room somewhere.
That would have been awesome if David Blatt were coaching in the All-Star game.
Yeah, see, that's entertainment for me. That'll take me to tune into the All-Star game.
But this thing, look, you asked me, all right, Tyronn Lue, is what, fill in the blank? Comical. He's coached 3 games. If a player had played in 3 games, is he playing in the All-Star game?
Exactly. I mean, that was one of the arguments against Kyrie Irving.
Unless your name's Kobe Bryant.
Of course. Oh, listen. Don't. Let's not besmirch Kobe's great name during his farewell tour.
Next question.
All right, Golic, just like his father doesn't answer the questions, we'll move right along. Is LeBron a coach killer?
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
I asked him to fill in the blank. He didn't fill in the blank.
You know what? All right,
That's
fine.
what it means.
I got you for this one. No.
And he lays out.
All right, Fitz, is LeBron a coach killer?
You mean plural or singular?
It just says, is he a coach killer?
Because guess what? He got Blatt rocked. And there's the rumors out there that he wanted Spoelstra out and tried to get him out of Miami. Didn't happen, so he didn't kill that one, but he killed this one. So I will say yes.
All right, well, we know Golic's not going to answer. We'll start with him on this next one, and it might be tricky because it's another fill in the blank. Blake Griffin's punishment should be blank.
It's suspension. I think it should only be maybe a game or 2, but you can't have one of your star players in the NBA behaving like this. And the majority of the outrage comes because there was injury involved. I want to say that right away. I don't think if he didn't break his hand, we're not having this much of a conversation about what went down. But that being said, the action, it was still between 2 friends, and I understand all that, but from a league perspective, you can't have one of your stars behaving like that.
All medical expenses paid and an all-expense trip paid vacation for he and the assistant equipment trainer, the manager's family, and as many friends as he wants to anywhere he wants to go to. That's his punishment.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good to me. Was that good enough for you, Stanzik?
Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to say next question. I guess I'll just do it myself. There we go. Okay, perfect. True or false, Peyton Manning is the 22nd
you okay?
best
You a little
player.
hungry.
I'm good.
All right, I'm just checking.
Yeah, are you
Get
good?
your coffee?
I'm a little worried about you right
You
now.
all right, Sugar?
I don't have a beard, so that might be it.
It's the beard.
That's the tension here.
All right.
All right, true or false, Peyton Manning is the 22nd best player in the Super Bowl.
This is Sando's ranking?
It is.
Right. Mike Sando. By the way, great piece on ESPN Insider. I'm going to be brutally honest. I couldn't rank these things. Now, I saw Chris Harris at 18. I think that's way low. But 20. I'm going to give you an honest answer. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. 22nd? What separates 21st from 22nd or 23rd? No clue.
I'm going to say true, and again, the exact ranking you can debate, but I think it's not a far reach to say that he falls in that range anymore. That's where we're at with Peyton Manning, and I think he'd be the first to tell you that.
Next question is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. I'll tell you this, if he plays like he did in the AFC Championship game or in the divisional round, guess what? He's higher than 22nd. We'll get into a lot of that with Ryan Clark, former All-Pro, World Super Bowl champion, NFL analyst here at ESPN. He joins us coming up next with Golic Jr. I'm Ian Fitzsimmons in for Senior and Greeny here at ESPN.
Coach Love is back to transform a nation of hopeless men into hopeless romantics. And Sport Clips Haircuts has just the game plan for you, with a chance to win cool prizes, too. See the rules and enter at sportclips.com/Coach Love. No purchase necessary. U.S. only. 18 or older. Ends 2/5/16. Void where prohibited.
Hey, basketball fans, I'm George Sedano, and on the latest NBA Lockdown podcast, Tom Haberstroh and I discuss LeBron's comments about being a coach killer, plus Kevin Pelton stops by, and we all do our All-Star reserves. Find the podcast and subscribe in the Listen tab of the ESPN app.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori, and here's something everyone should know. If you're driving and you can't see clearly for 1 second at 60 miles per hour, you can't see clearly for 88 feet. And a lot can happen in 88 feet. That's why Bosch created the Icon with ClearMax 365. It's a rubber technology for longer-lasting performance, not found on any other wiper blade. Because like you, Bosch cares about what's ahead.
The NBA on ESPN Radio. Jimmy Butler, Pau Gasol, and the Bulls head to L.A. to face Chris Paul and the Clippers.
Close it down with 2 hands.
Coverage begins Sunday at 2:30 Eastern on ABC and on ESPN Radio.